Welcome everybody to Pinfalls and Passports. For those who don't already know, this is a podcast for people just like you who love the sport of professional wrestling, and for members of our WWE travel community Discord server. Not a member of our travel community? Come and join one of the fastest pro wrestling communities online. You can find the Discord invite link here in the podcast bio. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Pinfalls and Passports and TikTok at Pinfalls_passports. And please don't forget to follow and subscribe to this podcast to keep up to date with all things involving the wacky world of pro wrestling. My name is Daddy Dom. This is Pinfalls and Passports, and I am joined today for this AEW recap episode by Mirah. Hi, Mirah. How are you doing today?
Hello, I'm doing great. It's the weekend, so we have a lot to chat about. We have WrestleDream, we got Dynamite, so I'm happy. I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely. We got a lot to unpack. I tell you what, I've had such a nightmare week at work. It seems like WrestleDream was an absolute age away at this point. I'm so glad we got to the end of the week. But yeah, let's kick off with WrestleDream. Obviously, AEW's big pay-per-view event from Saturday night. Overall, I thought the event was a sort of great success. A lot going on. Another very sort of long show on from AEW once again, as we've come to expect. Let's kick off and just talk briefly about the last match on the Tailgate Brawl. FTR versus Jet Speed. Now, they managed, or they at least attempted, to cram what I think was 4 matches into this Tailgate Brawl, which was supposed to last 1 hour. Now, when the bell rang for this match between FTR and Jet Speed, I saw the clock ticking down. It said, I think it was about 4 minutes till the main pay-per-view. What sort of was going on here? What are your thoughts on this?
So when they did because I had watched it live, so when they did their entrances, I'm like, is this going to be a squash match? Is someone going to come out and in this before the actual card starts? But then we had a surprise. That did not happen.
No,
It just
did
went
not.
through. They just started the show.
Yeah, they certainly did. And at first I thought maybe they're just running a sort of a couple of minutes behind or something like that. And maybe this was planned to open up. But then they started playing like the intro sort of video, the promo video for WrestleDream, but then promptly cut it off.
Right.
Then the fireworks start going off to start the show, and the match is still going on. And then the match went on for about another sort of 12 minutes after that. And then we didn't get the proper sort of intro to the show. It was all a bit strange for me. I'm not really sure what was going on there, but the match itself was certainly good fun. We had some interesting bits. Jet Speed, obviously, Grey High Flyers,
Yes.
fantastic looking team. FTR, the veteran heels. It was a good, fantastic, exciting match, whether it was supposed to be on the main card or not. But the timing obviously felt a little bit off. But again, it reinforces FTR's heel status, helps further Jet Speed's credibility, I think, a little as well. I think they look really solid, even though FTR sort of got the pin full win a little bit controversially. But let's kick off with the actual main card. What do we start WrestleDream with,
We
Mirah?
started WrestleDream with Jamie Hayter and Thekla, and that match was fucking amazing. And those women, I feel like the chemistry between them is actually really good. I know this is building to Blood and Guts. This is building to the Women's Tag Team Championship belts as well. It was just really done well. You predicted it correctly. Jamie Hayter did win.
And to be honest, I was shocked. I mean, I picked Jamie Hayter just purely from heart, purely from the hometown girl, but I honestly did not think she was going to win this match. And I don't think many other people did either. This was a bit of a sort of shock win here for Jamie Hayter, I think.
I really felt like it was going to be shenanigans, especially with Sky Blue, Julia Hart, and all that. And I know it's just been back and forth with the tentative women's Blood and Guts match. So I'm just like, I just didn't know, but I'm very glad that she won, and she got an amazing ovation there as well. And I think they had "This is awesome" chants or something along the lines of that. Like the crowd
Yeah.
was really engaged in the match.
Absolutely. And I think, as we mentioned before, it's not often we get a no stakes singles women's match on an actual pay-per-view card. So that was fantastic to see. Thekla had the early advantage. She was working on Hayter's neck, using the submission game a bit, but Hayter obviously weathered that storm, managed to get the win, really reestablishing, I think, now Hayter's position. I was shocked that Thekla kind of didn't win because I feel like they were pushing her quite hard. But actually, looking back, I think this really sets a tone for the women's division. There's a lot of really great sort of contenders right now, and anyone can beat anyone on their given night. And perhaps this will work well for both of them and set up some future women's division storylines. So, yeah, I really enjoyed that. Next, the Tornado Trios match, hopefully the last match we are getting between these two teams. Hurt Syndicate versus The Demand. It was okay. I don't think it quite had the kind of energy that we'd seen in the tag match on the Dynamite episode, on the Go Home episode before. Obviously, this was added with MVP and Ricochet, obviously, in the match, making it a sort of trios match. And I believe it was a number one contenders match for the trios title. Is that right?
Yes, because then at Dynamite, they had the match. So
yeah, of course. And it got the job done. It got Hurt Syndicate ready for that next title opportunity. I think it was a solid match, but I think it's time for these teams to go their separate ways. But I think for the trios division as a whole, it did its job. It did its purpose.
Right.
Yeah, you agree?
Yeah, I do agree. I like the match. It was solid. Again, Shelton had his spots. Again, he's in his 50s, if I'm not mistaken. And he's taking bumps and performing like he's in his 30s. Like, I'm talking about early 2000s Shelton Benjamin. So it's always great to see him. MVP, he's trying his damnedest. He's just trying to make do with the time he has. And Bobby,
Yep.
Bobby is Bobby. Who's really going to stop him, honestly? And then the Demand, like I told you before, I'm starting to enjoy them a lot more than I actually anticipated. I think Ricochet brings this comical part, and then he has Bishop and Toa, and it's just like a really good vibe for all three of them. So it was an okay match, but
agreed. And I think the good thing for Gates of Agony out of this is they were just that kind of tag team you didn't really care much about. You didn't really know who was who. You didn't know the difference. But they've really, I think, established a sort of individual identity, each of them now. And I think we get to understand them a little bit better. So, yeah, they're going certainly in the right direction. And I think it's been great to see the Gates of Agony really show how talented they are. I think they've got a lot of potential, both as a tag team and as potentially solo wrestlers down the line. Right. You mentioned about Shelton Benjamin's age. I didn't realize he was quite that old, but obviously he's been around, it seems like, forever. But one thing I did notice, he is looking jacked right now.
Yes.
My goodness, must be obviously he's hanging around with Bobby Lashley a lot, and I don't remember ever seeing him sort of this sort of built and muscly and thick, right? He's always been lean and nimble and tall and always in shape, but goodness me, he looked absolutely jacked this weekend.
I want to say the last 3 years, I feel like he's gotten like much more like bulk, like he's bulked up a lot.
Yeah.
And it's probably the influence from Bobby. So I wouldn't be surprised though.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. Absolutely. So what do we have next? Big stakes.
Yeah, big stakes. We had the $500,000 match with Jurassic Express versus the Young Bucks, the Broke Bucks, whatever you want to call them, honestly. And it was honestly an enjoyable match. You knew what was coming out. Even, I think it was the Young Bucks entrance, and it was their bill, and it tallied up to basically $499,000, and they had like maybe 70 something cents left if they did win the match. I thought that was great. Again, the Young Bucks, like this run for them, I'm enjoying it so much. It's out of their norm. They're keeping it like funny. They're keeping it everything. The crowd is still engaged with them even as a heel tag team. Jurassic Express, they're growing more and more, so you already know their sights are going to be for those men's tag team championships soon. I think this is just really building their confidence. Good spots in the match as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We did have some great spots. Obviously, Jurassic Express got the win here. What does this mean now for Jurassic Express? Obviously, that's a big win over a big name sort of tag team that carries on the Buck story as well for them. So no harm done there. They can carry on this sort of losing run, maybe brings a few sort of cracks in the elite or something like that, and perhaps really showcasing the sort of end of their dominance. And they are coming towards the tail end, I suppose, of their career. I think there've been some hints that they may not be around for an awful lot longer. But what about Jurassic Express? Do we see them carrying on down this route as one of the sort of main tag teams, the next sort of title sort of contenders for the titles?
I want to say yes, only because the men's tag team division has a lot going for them. So you have Jet Speed, you have FTR, you have Adam Copeland and Christian when they do return back on screen. You have the Don Callis family of whoever they want to throw into a tag team together. I mean, I think this is like a good wave for Jurassic Express to be in, a part of that tag team division. So I'm hoping that we do see them contend for the belts pretty soon. I don't think it'll be before the end of this year, but as long as they're still on TV getting the wins, it'll come around to them.
100%, 100%. But yeah, no, it was good fun. Next up, title time. Kyle Fletcher defended his TNT championship against Mark Briscoe. Good match, great fun, delivered in technicality, good intensity. Briscoe looked good. Fletcher, in the end, was just too powerful, too resilient. But there were a few moments here where I really thought that Mark Briscoe got very close. There was some real sort of near falls in this match, but they didn't pull the trigger on Mark Briscoe, and I'm glad they didn't. But this was an entertaining match all the same, right?
Yeah. Again, it's a Kyle Fletcher match. He's so young, so talented. Within the last year, his evolution to who he is now has been fucking amazing. Mark Briscoe, he's super talented. Being on his own now, you're starting to see him shine a lot more, pulling stops out that maybe he wouldn't have tried if he was with his brother, or even certain like moves and things like that. I know he was trying to hit the J Driller, what was it, like once or twice during that match, and he couldn't because Kyle was like, not right now. So it's like there's that potential for Mark to get that belt. And I think Kyle is up, what, 3-2? I think. Or is it? Yeah, so I don't know if they're going to do another match. It's being hinted that they might. But again, is it going to end with Mark dethroning Kyle Fletcher? And if so, where does that leave Kyle Fletcher?
I mean, if Kyle Fletcher's dropping that belt, I think the only reason is to get him straight up to the main event scene, because that's where he belongs, and he is certainly headed. What do you think of Fletcher's finisher here? That turnbuckle brainbuster.
I was like, is he going to get up? I was like, is Mark going to get up genuinely? Because when he hit that, I'm like, is he going to move? Yeah, it just looks so painful.
Yeah. Does not look fun to take. And anytime you see him doing that move, you think it's always a sort of couple of inches away from something going wrong. Thankfully, obviously, it didn't. And that shows the quality of the two guys that are in the ring. But goodness me, is that a scary, devastating maneuver in order to finish a match with. And yeah, congratulations, Fletcher, and a good defense. Solidifies again his credibility and keeps that TNT championship relevant.
No, I think that was a really good defense for him as well. I know he pulls out moves that other people may not want to pull out, but he does it on a special occasion. It's okay, I can breathe again after he does it, because it's not like he's going to do it every night, which I'm thankful for.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So next up.
Oh, yes. Next, we have the AEW Women's World Championship. Our champion, Kris Statlander, versus Timeless Toni Storm. And these women make me feel things. These two make me feel things. That match, I feel like we could see a best of 3. Like, honestly, I want to see more out of those two. But I think Toni wants to take a little step back from that main title right now and let Kris do her thing. I think it was a beautiful match. Again, they have great chemistry.
They do.
And Kris Statlander, she's gaining more and more crowd traction, and I'm loving that because she deserves it. So I'm very happy with her first title defense, right? Yeah, no, or second. Was her second? Had one? Did she have one on? Or this is her first official one? No.
I think it was the
Yeah,
first defense,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
This like with this being her first defense, like it was just great to see that she beat Tony. Tony 1-on-1, no other people there. She's
Yeah.
okay. I did this mountain. Let's move on to the next person.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all knew this was going to be the end result of this match. A
Right.
clean finish, a statement win over Tony Storm. But the real sort of winner here is Kris Statlander. And you've got to put your hands up for Tony Storm for doing this. Incredible work from both of them, incredible character development, with Kris Statlander only recently coming back. And I don't know if anybody else, if she'd been paired with, would be able to elevate her to that level and legitimize her as that title holder already, aside from Tony Storm. And I thought it's all been done absolutely brilliantly and has done a lot for Kris Statlander as well. So yeah, really enjoyed this. Of course, at the end of the match, as soon as the celebration started, we did have an interruption.
Yes. We had an interruption from the CEO herself, Mercedes Mone. After Kris had won and was celebrating with the crowd, she decided to come out saying it is time for her open challenge during WrestleDream. And Mina Shirakawa, the interim ROH World TV Champion, answered that. And when Mina answered it, I was like, oh no. Oh no. Because I knew where this was going.
Yep.
The match went on a little bit too long, in my opinion. I love Mercedes, but I feel like we didn't need to do that here. But I think Tony was like, we can't have a pay-per-view without her on it in some capacity. I think that's what it really was.
I know what you mean, because especially with it being immediately after this match between Kris and Tony, which was obviously incredible. In a way, perhaps maybe you could say it maybe overshadowed the match previous to it. But predictably, Monet retained and added to her belt collection as well. So that's up to 11 now, picking up the interim ROH title.
Yes. Actually, no, it's 12.
12.
Because she won the Winnipeg championship. Because it was the following day, I think she won right up to Winnipeg and won that. So now it's 12. But at that time, it was 11. So
That's right.
Yeah. So it was 11.
Gotcha.
But the best part about it was that during her celebration, didn't someone come out? Didn't somebody come back out there?
Absolutely. Yeah. Statlander comes down, returns to the ring after Monet and confronts her. Monet's obviously challenged her. Now she wants that title from Kris Statlander. I guess we're going to see that soon, because Monet wants to complete her collection with both AEW women's titles. I think the only thing I would ask if I'd be Kris Statlander is, hold on a minute, if I'm putting my belt on the line, what are you putting on the line?
Exactly.
You've got quite a few of them, right? You could probably afford to lose a couple. What's in it for me? That's what I think. What I'd be asking if I was Kris Statlander.
You are absolutely correct, because I would have said the same thing. My only gripe is that you're setting up Mercedes in this way of the fan. Like, a lot of fans are not happy with her right now. People do not want her to win the championship. They're sick of her being a belt collector, but they're not getting the plot. Yeah. See, she has all these belts, but she's not focused on AEW. She's focused on everything else because she's focused on winning. You can't become the women's AEW champion if you're not focused on the heart and the soul of AEW.
100%. And this is exactly where this is going, because after Monet has picked up all these belts, and goodness knows how many she will have by the time it gets to this match with Kris Statlander, this will be the hurdle that she cannot get over, and Kris Statlander will beat her. So bear with that story, because that is going to be the breaking, I believe, of Mercedes Mone. She is going to fail again in her attempts. She failed obviously against Toni Storm, and now she will fail against Kris Statlander, and we will see it slowly break down piece by piece. That's what I think's gonna happen anyway. But yeah, Mone's heat is certainly rising. The division is super, super strong right now. The women's division in AEW is so strong. Some really good booking going on. But I'd like to see, before we get that Monet and Kris Statlander match, I'd like to see some feuds in AEW set up for both of these competitors, right?
Yeah.
Because we've got a hungry women's division with some great contenders coming up. And let's see a few of those through first, eh?
And I think it will happen. And we'll discuss that a little bit later in the show. But following that, what did we have? We had the men's.
We had the tag team championship.
Yes,
Obviously,
yes.
Brodido, our tag team champions of AEW, versus the not on the same page Don Callis family pairing of
Right.
Okada and Takeshita. This pretty much went as we expected, I think. Champions Brodido retained. They defended their titles, but the real sort of big story here and the real sort of narrative behind this is obviously the tension between Okada and Takeshita.
Yes.
It started off like they were gonna get on, but after a while, Okada decided to tag himself in with the slap on the back, and the tension started boiling over. Brodido controlled the pace here. They were exploiting the sort of mismatch in the sort of teamwork between Okada and Takeshita. Obviously, Bandito hits the 21 plex on Okada for the pin, but the real talking point is after the match. Okada and Takeshita stare each other down. This partnership is on the rocks for sure. Where do we see this going next?
Therapy. It's going to be one of those segments where they're going to be in therapy real soon. Because Don Callis is not one. I feel like I was seeing a lot about this. They're like, Okada Takeshita is going to be on Wrestle Kingdom, I believe. Like, that match has to happen there. That type of thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people in comments like, Tony Khan is not going to have that happen. I think it's going to be like this longer storyline. You're going to have a lot of tension. It's going to be a lot of patient cues, but they're not going to pull the trigger until a big pay-per-view of some sort. I think it's going to be like the therapy bit. They may not talk to each other. They may still communicate to be in the family, but not really communicate actually. So I think it's going to be this long-term plot for them. And then hell will freeze over or go over once they decide to put everything on the line.
Absolutely. And that's what we're going to get, I think, isn't it? Because obviously they've both got very big sort of titles between them. Takeshita, now the IWGP heavyweight champion, a title which Okada pretty much put on the map himself. And then obviously Okada, the unified champion in AEW. Do you think we could potentially see a unification match between those two champions?
I don't think it'll be unified in that sense, only because I'm like, that's New Japan's belt. Now, with AEW having broadcast issues, depending on if it gets sold or not, they may start changing the name of certain belts. So there could be something in that sense, but no, I don't think so.
Yeah. That's the only thing I was thinking. If it's a way to just get that kind of belt out the way so they can create a sort of new, I don't know, a bit like the World Heavyweight Championship title in WWE, a second main championship sort of belt, because that's what it feels like, doesn't it, at the moment? It does feel like the secondary sort of title, but I think just because of its sort of history and its sort of lineage, it's even Okada is struggling to get that across and make it that sort of meaningful, no matter what sort of matches they have. So perhaps a little rebrand on the horizon for that belt in one way or another.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be opposed to it. I think Tony and the team has to think of a creative way to do it. I know you have the Owen Hart Cup that comes up around like April, May, June, that time frame. So maybe that'll be a good time to introduce like another new belt, or even save it for a time when there's not a lot of storylines going on. But I wouldn't be opposed to it though.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And maybe that unified championship, because obviously before it was like the Continental Championship, wasn't it? And all that sort of thing. Maybe that title becomes a sort of touring title for AEW.
That's
Who
true.
knows?
That's
Maybe
true.
it's one that gets defended in New Japan and CMLL and places like that. Who knows? We'll see. Next up, though, our AEW World Championship match.
Oh,
Hangman
yes.
Adam Page, our champion, versus Samoa Joe, the big one. Hangman with the win here, retaining, but this was a superb match, I thought, as we would have expected between these two. But it did end for me with the feeling that Joe himself is embracing this sort of more sinister sort of side, and it looks like it's heading towards a sort of more of a sort of heel turn, heel run for Samoa Joe and the Ops, you think?
Thank God. Okay, so I love the Ops. They're great, but I think they needed this little edge. They needed this heel turn. It'll bring more heat to them. They'll be challenging a lot more. If they drop the belt, cool. They're still going to be on a rampage anyway. For Hangman, this also helps him because he hasn't had a long-term feud for this belt as of yet. So if he's doing like a best of 3 with Samoa or something along the lines of that, this is going to be great for him. Even if Samoa takes the belt off of him and it's only for 3 weeks or a month, fuck it, and he gets it back, that's fine. But it's going to be like this long-term thing, it feels like. And I'm not upset about that at all.
Yeah, no, I agree. It takes it into gives it some more dimension if we see a sort of full sort of heel turn, and brings the threat of Joe, obviously with his powerhouse Hobbs and Shibata backing him up. It makes that sort of threat a little bit more real and a bit more dangerous and a bit more stakes on the line in this match, because I don't think we believe Samoa Joe could beat him on his own. But obviously as a heel, he's not necessarily going to be on his own, and it could create some interesting storytelling.
Right. Then, before we get to our main event, Mercedes Mone challenges Kris Statlander at Full Gear. Now, I will be in attendance for Full Gear.
You will?
I will be in attendance for Full Gear. Me and Scarlett and a few other server peeps as well. But I'm going to be one of the ones where I'm going to sit there during the match quietly because I want Kris to retain, but I also want Mercedes to have her moment. It can't be right now, though. Like I said previously, Mercedes is focused on everything else. She's not really focused on AEW as a whole. She has to break down, crash out, lose all 1,000 belts she has before she can even touch the AEW Women's Championship. That's just how it has to happen. So I'm very excited for this match at Full Gear, but I'm nervous as hell because maybe they do put it on her. I don't think they should, but Kris deserves a longer reign. So I'm like, I don't see her beating Kris right now. I don't.
No,
No.
I don't either. I think this is, as I said earlier, the obstacle for Monet. She's been untouchable really in this run recently, but this is where it comes to a stop and the doubts will start to creep in.
Yep.
Obviously, that will do an awful lot for Kris Statlander and her reign and really legitimize her, and it will make the whole story for Mercedes Monet a lot more interesting as well. If she's just holding all those belts, there's no sort of fun to be had moving forward, is there? We need her. We need this to be the sort of bogey title, the one that she gets so close to, but she can never quite cross the line. I think that's, and I really hope that's where we're going. So where is Full Gear? Tell me.
It is in Newark, New Jersey. I'm probably saying it wrong because I know some New Jersey people say it as Newark, if I'm not mistaken. But it's in Jersey, not that far from Philly. So I'll be taking a drive out that day. It'll be a good time. I'm very excited for it. So I'm excited to see the card build. But for our main event at WrestleDream, we had the I Quit match between Darby Allin and Jon Moxley. Honestly, I know a lot of people had their gripes with this match, but I enjoyed it. They had a lot of different spots that we haven't seen before. One of them being the fish tank with the water. I felt like that was a realistic fear for people. You can drown in water. Like this is a real thing, just like with the zip ties, like the handcuffs. Like we know a lot of the times it's toy handcuffs, like it's made to look real. Zip ties, that's something that you can actually get stuck in. Water is something that people can fear. So I enjoy that spot. I know there was a plastic bag spot, which some people did not like, especially with kids being like a part of the audience, which I do understand. But I'm also like, this match was on at 12 o'clock. They should be asleep.
Yeah.
They should be asleep by now.
I mean, if you are allowing your children to watch an AEW pay-per-view, especially if you've got Moxley and Darby Allin in the main event, you know what to expect. And I got to be honest, I know there was a lot of chatter about how controversial this sort of was, but was it really? I
I don't
mean,
think it was.
people can hold their breath underwater. There was no sort of danger there. I think the plastic bag spot was far more sort of controversial. We always hear about dangers around kids playing with plastic carry bags and things like that, don't we? I didn't. The worst thing about this was after they broke the fish tank, I thought the glass. I was like, oh god, the glass.
I was like, to clean up the water. But didn't we have a surprise during this match as well?
Oh, a little bit of a surprise.
Yes, we had Sting. And I feel like that was just a good pop. He helped Darby. He passed the torch or passed the bat over to him. So I feel like seeing Sting gave Darby, okay, I can do anything. This is my guy. He's my mentor, that type of thing. So I'm like, I'm hoping for Darby that he's able to move up in the ranks and get out of this Jon Moxley stick like today, please.
Yeah, no, I think this was it. And yeah, I was shocked by this. I think anybody predicted a sort of return for Sting. I think he'd come out and said he's never putting that face paint on again, even for meet and greets and things like that. So to see him come out here with the face paint and that very grey sort of beard and get involved here, I was shocked. But yeah, he hands Darby the bat and Darby puts a Scorpion Deathlock on and that is what forces Moxley to say, I quit. Now, that was something I was a little bit surprised at. What are your thoughts on that, the finish of this match?
So, what came to mind for me is I'm like, Sting, his thing is a scorpion. I took it there.
Sting's move, yeah, for sure.
So I'm I could see why he tapped. I feel like a lot of people we thought it would be more graphic, like a more graphic type of finish, but I feel like that was like a respectable thing. Like they went through a lot during that match. Darby took most of the daggone punishment anyways. So I was actually content with the move. I'm like, it's Sting's move.
Yeah.
I don't
fair enough.
I don't see it being an issue. I just think people thought it was going to be more graphic than what it was. But then people would have been like, this is too graphic. So I'm like, what do you want?
I just thought it was gonna in order for Moxley to say I quit. I thought it was gonna really have to go to a sort of really extreme place, and not for him just to give up in a submission move that isn't even Darby's sort of submission move, a pretty sort of basic submission move. I was a little bit disappointed as well that we didn't get the sort of microphone near the mouth so we could hear those words from Moxley's mouth. That's what I like about I quit match, right? You want to hear them say, I quit. But we didn't get that. We just got a tap out or a I quit to the ref that we couldn't hear. So it ended a little bit like, I was like, oh, is that it? Did he say I quit? That was a bit odd. But yeah, we got through it. Darby wins. Great for him. Gives him his big moment. Elevates him as a top tier face. Now Moxley takes that loss, and they're obviously, we'll talk about this in a second when we go into Dynamite, they are playing on this submission fear that Moxley now seems to have. And seems like there was a bit of a plan behind this all along. But yeah, overall I enjoyed WrestleDream. I thought it was a solid card, some great matches in there, some really clear winners were elevated. Darby, Kris Statlander, obviously Brodito, a real big win for them. Fletcher, Jurassic Express. A lot of intrigue around the Ops now as well, and the Trios division. The women's division itself looking just super, super strong. So it looks like there's lots of sort of options there. Any lasting thoughts on WrestleDream?
No, you said everything perfectly. I just feel like AEW is doing an amazing job with their pay-per-views. I think they're starting to finally get into a little rhythm there. I just wanted to stay consistent in that way. But no, I actually thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, another solid pay-per-view, and it wasn't too long. I think it was 4.5 hours. That's pretty standard now for an AEW pay-per-view, isn't it?
I feel like for them, and even if you think about New Japan pay-per-views, they're also long. They're also 5 hours long. I feel like
Yeah.
there's just this thing of where WWE standard is maybe 3.5 hours, 4 if they're trying to push it. And I think that's where a lot of people are like, this is too long. It shouldn't be X amount of matches, which I do agree. I feel like it should not be over 9 matches for a pay-per-view, especially if it's not like your big all end all one. But
Yeah.
I feel like that's been like the gripe. Oh, this is too long of a pay-per-view, or it's on too late, or this and there. This is AEW standard, 4 hours, 4.5, maybe 5. And if you're buying their pay-per-view, which a lot of people, do, or if they get a free stream, do that. But this is what they like to do. They've been doing it from the release, so I'm not opposed to it. And if you're too tired, turn it off, watch the next, catch the clips. But no, I actually like it. I like it because it gives you more bang for your buck, especially if you're
Yeah.
spending.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems to be a formula that's working for them, doesn't it? In a business that doesn't really have much pay-per-view as such these days. Obviously, WWE is all through your various sort of much cheaper sort of subscription services. I know some promotions will charge for a pay-per-view, but we're not talking big sort of money for it. Charging $50 for a pay-per-view in wrestling in 2025, it's a big deal, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it seems to be working for them, and the fans, the people that are buying these pay-per-views repeatedly because their numbers are strong by the looks of things, they want this. They want their money's worth. They don't want a sort of 3.5 hour show, including the 0 hour. We had 15 shows, 15 matches
That is true.
on WrestleDream, which is incredible. But yeah, it's working for them. So fair play, and I enjoyed it.
Yes.
That brings us nicely on
Yep.
to Dynamite from San Antonio, the Fallout show, obviously after WrestleDream.
Mm-hmm.
Now we are headed towards Full Gear. We had a lot on this show, didn't we? We had title matches,
Yes.
we had tournament reveals, plenty to unpack here. The show itself is open, I think, with the highlight package from the pay-per-view, just
Right.
reminding them of what sort of happened from last night. And then there was a backstage clip of Hangman furious at Samoa Joe for the attack that he laid on him after their match, setting up, as you said, what looks to be a longer storyline between these two. And then we went into a trios match, I believe. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah, started off with the trios match. So you had the Ops versus the Hurt Syndicate, which was yes. So this is where we got that number one contendership. But no, they opened it up. The Ops do win, of course, with their new heel persona. They're very angry. They're just really like on it. And then at the end of the match, Samoa Joe cuts a promo, which honestly, I was like, bravo, because again, this is needed for Hangman. This is needed for Samoa Joe as well, and the Ops. But I feel like ever since hearing that this may be Samoa Joe's like last like big run with professional wrestling, I'm very happy that this is how his pivot has been from face to heel. Because seeing him back at a 2300 not that long ago, it just seemed, oh, he's a baby face. He's doing the baby face stuff, which is cool and stuff. But I want that nasty Samoa Joe, the ROH Samoa Joe. I'm like kicking ass. So I'm very happy with this.
Yeah.
Like, again, I think this is very much needed for them right now, especially if Moxley's not in the picture and MJF is not in the picture doing stuff. You need a heel, a good heel.
Yeah, agreed. Let's have Joe is gonna kill you back. I would say AEW does feel very heel heavy at the moment. Especially the Don Callis family itself is obviously all heel, and that takes up a large segment of the roster. This is another 3 of the roster that have turned heel. We might need to see some more baby faces soon on the AEW roster. For me, I think that may be starting with the breakdown of the Death Riders and the John Moxley situation, but we'll get into that a little bit later and discuss where we think that sort of might end up. But next, we had a women's tag team tournament bracket reveal and a fatal 4-way. Jamie Hayter and Queen Aminata versus Willow Nightingale and Harley Cameron as we predicted. Those two look like they're staying together.
Yep.
Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, Sky Blue and Julia Hart. A good match. I think it was a way to establish these teams,
Right.
really, because a lot of these competitors are put together, two singles wrestlers put together. We don't have many established tag teams in AEW in the women's division, mainly because we haven't had a title in the women's division. So that's the main sort of reason for that. But we do need to sort of create some tag teams, if you like. And I think they've done well by pairing these girls up. Obviously, Sky Blue and Julia Hart, the most established tag team. But what did you think of the winner here? I was quite surprised to see Hayter and Amanata come out and win this match. And this allows them now to choose their first round opponents. Is that right?
Yeah, so they ultimately chose Sky Blue and Julia Hart. So that is who they're facing. I think the matches start next week. So I'm curious to see who comes out of that. My thinking is that Queen Amanata and Jamie Hayter will move on ultimately, but if not, I'm very curious to see who's going to be the first set of women tag team champions. I don't want it to be Tony or Mina, and I don't want it to be Athena or Monet either. I'm not going to lie. I'd rather it be people that don't have a title, haven't seen a title in a minute, and let them boost their caliber, their brackets, let them boost themselves up, and then have the fallout or however it ends. But I just don't want it to be any of those 4 women. Nothing against them, love them, but not right now.
No, I agree. We've got, 10 women in the AEW women's division right now that a lot of them have been around for a while. A lot of them have sort of built their craft within AEW. They are at the level now where they should be contending for titles. The quality of their work has vastly improved. And it'd be great to see somebody like Willow and Harley Cameron get those belts, somebody like Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford, somebody that's sitting on that sort of level right now where all these sort of women's wrestlers are, but then they're not quite in a position or build up a run to sort of challenge for one of those women's titles. Let's see 2 of the rising stars from AEW get these titles. And when are they going to be crowning these? Is it at Full Gear? Or?
I'm not exactly sure. That part I'm not sure about. I want to say it's Full Gear, but they could right? I feel like they could even extend it even until World's End if they wanted to, but I think it is Full Gear.
Cool.
I'm pretty sure.
Cool. We'll look forward to that.
And then following that, where did it go? It just left on me. Okay. So following that, we had Kyle O'Reilly versus Jon Moxley. Dun, dun, dun.
Yes, we did. And this was interesting. Kyle put on a hell of a match, I thought, against Jon Moxley. Maybe got a few more shots in than perhaps I would have expected him to. A lot of submission work, ankle locks. Moxie's refusing to tap, but looks like they're playing with an angle here that Moxie's psychologically damaged by this loss against Darby, the fact that he's tapped out to this submission move. And in the end, Kyle O'Reilly puts a submission lock on him. And what does Moxley do?
He decides to hit the ref instead of tapping.
Yeah, absolutely. Gets himself disqualified. So, yeah, I mean, from a storyline perspective, I think it's interesting. It gives Kyle O'Reilly a moment as well, because I thought he's just been sat at the back for a while now, not doing much. And we know how much talent that guy has. I thought it was good for him to get a win over someone, even if it is a sort of DQ win. But I thought it was a good performance from him. But yeah, the main takeaway from this is what's going on with Jon Moxley, what's going on in his head, the idea that he panicked so much that he didn't think he'd be able to get out of a submission move from Kyle O'Reilly, that he went to drastic measures to get himself disqualified in order to not submit, really tells a sort of story of what's going on in Moxley's head. And it'll be interesting to see where it goes next. And interesting to see how the Death Riders respond to this as well, the other Death Riders, because they're not used to having their leader losing or looking vulnerable. He is the strength that holds them together. He is the visionary, if you like, for the Death Riders cause. He's the leader, and we've never seen him in this position before. And the Death Riders themselves are looking, perhaps I would say, as individuals, stronger than ever. Pac has come back now, and he's looking awesome. Claudio is looking strong and looks like he's getting some good wins on the board at the moment. It looks like he's getting a bit of a push. We've had Garcia thrown into the mix as well. Could there be some dissension along the way coming up soon for the Death Riders and a bit of change, perhaps? Because I'll tell you what, one person that didn't look impressed with John Moxley and the result of this match was Marina Shafir.
Yes.
She did not look happy and was giving him some real sort of side looks going his way. So that was certainly interesting. So we'll see. We'll see what's on the horizon. I can see a lot of things that are happening with this Death Rider story, and I think it really needs it. It needs a shake-up, doesn't it? It needs something to happen. Next up, we had a unified championship match between Okada and Bandido. So after the night, or not the night after, but the show after, Okada was fighting for those tag team championships from Bandido and Brody King. Then Bandido got his turn to go for Okada's unified AEW championship. Okada did retain, of course, but this was a fun match. Bandido certainly looked like he had a chance. We had some great near falls, some fantastic sequences. In the end, Okada outsmarted him, managed to retain. One particular enjoy was when Bandido went to set him up for his finisher, and Okada just moved away from the rope a little bit. So when he went to do his flip over, and Okada was just too far away, I thought that was very clever, and that set up the Rainmaker in order to finish the match. But again, afterwards, we had the tension from Takeshita looking not too happy with. In fact, he didn't. I'm right. I'll be honest, I wasn't paying full attention to this episode. I was trying to do some bits on my computer for our socials, but Don Callis Family came out right after this match. Is that right?
I believe so. Yeah. So essentially, Bandito is the babyface he's a pure shit babyface. Okay. He's lovable. Again, he had great moves. He did his finisher with one arm, if I'm not mistaken. I think I'm correct or something.
He is how strong is he?
Yeah, he did it with one arm, and I was like, oh, okay, so this is what we're doing. And I could even see him with that belt one day. That's how good Bandito is. If he is not the number one superstar on that list of 250 or whatever it is, I don't know who should be number one, because Bandito has been doing so much shit in 2025. And as far as Okada has been doing these smart things where he'll move out the way. It's slightly noticeable to the audience, but you can only really see it if you're watching from home, in my opinion. If you're live watching him, you may not be able to catch it. And I said, here he go again. He's done it so many times from what I'm seeing recently. But I think that Don Callis came in the ring himself, and then his music had hit, and then it was Takeshita at the top of the ramp. And that's how they ended
That's
it.
right. That's right. Takeshita came out and gave some interesting looks, not looking too impressed with Okada. So again, setting up that rift a little bit more.
Right.
But yeah, Bandido, I thought that built enormous credibility for him. His stock has gone up incredibly over the last few months since really coming onto the AEW roster sort of full time. Obviously, he was the Ring of Honor champion and now the AEW Tag Champion. But what a incredible performer, so strong. He's got a great sort of future ahead of him. Overall, I thought this was a pretty good Fallout episode.
Yeah, I feel like this episode was way better than the build up to WrestleDream. So post WrestleDream Dynamite to me was 10 times better. It's getting you excited for Full Gear. It's getting you excited for the tournament, for the tag team women's championship. There's so much stuff happening right now, and it's towards the end of the year, so you're like, I have a look forward to.
Yeah, I agree. And quite often we've seen in the past that you're a little bit slow in building towards the next pay-per-views, and it's all a little bit last minute. It doesn't seem the way for Full Gear. You can already see, even in the first Dynamite after WrestleDream, you can already see lots of seeds been sown for what that Full Gear card is going to look like. So story-wise, I think we're looking like we're in a much better place than where we were. Lots of interesting stuff going on. Be interesting to see if we get anything carrying on between Okada and Bandido, or maybe that just goes off down the Takeshita angle. Will Darby Allin face Moxley again? He did say, I think, in the show it's not over, but we will see. We've got the tag team women's tag title tournament obviously kicking off in the first round next week. Overall, fantastic show. I thought it was really solid, and looking forward to Collision, obviously, on this Saturday night.
Yes, I'm very excited for Collision. You have the tag team, so it'll be FTR, the Young Bucks versus Jurassic Express and Jet Speed for $500,000. I think again. I think we're back. So I'm excited for that match. I think that's the one match I know that's announced so far. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Be interesting to see as well. I'm thinking now, could Bandido be in line for that unified title, and could get Okada really get screwed over by Takeshita, and that's how he loses it? I'm just throwing some things out there, but perhaps that's an angle they may look at. We will see. Any other AEW news from you? Any gossip? Anything you've been hearing on the grapevine this week, Mirah?
Nothing crazy outside of like Mercedes. That's pretty much it. I feel like the fandom is what is going to happen. She has all these belts, that type of thing. But nothing super outlandish this week.
Okay, thank you so much for joining me. I really enjoyed our AEW catch-up. We will be doing these weekly, I believe now. We've decided, is that right, Mirah?
Yes.
We're going to catch up and recap on everything going on in the world of AEW every week to keep you guys up to date with everything All Elite Wrestling. Thank you so much for joining us today. I know the guys have got lots more content coming your way soon, so please follow, subscribe, Spotify, Apple, Audible, Amazon. We're even on YouTube Music now. You can even watch us on YouTube as well. Wherever you listen to your podcast, you can find us. But we got lots more content coming your way, with John Cena's last match coming up, with lots of us traveling to DC. So tune in for your travel tips. We've got some WWE recaps coming up soon. Lots going on in the world of professional wrestling. Thanks for joining us today, everyone. We've been Pinfalls and Passports. I'm Daddy Dom. Thank you so much, Mirah. You guys have a great weekend, and we'll catch you all soon.